Thunder Mountain by Julie Kusma. The summers here in Shallow Valley yield some of the fiercest storms, and those storms contain in them some of the brightest lightning and some of the loudest thunder ever seen or heard anywhere. Folks always talking about them, like the one in 60 that darn near flooded every house. You can still spot the watermark from how high the water stood. Then the one in 74 that killed 2 of old Farmer Jack's cows. Nobody ever fessed up, but I think the Bartlett boys probably tipped them, leaving their muzzles in the mud for them to drown. Such a shame. And everybody talks about the one in 92, 'cause Ted Riggins' truck slid off the embankment when he barreled around the sheriff's roadblock. He hit a tree head on. We all figured he got his comeuppance, mainly 'cause Ted Riggins is a jackass. There are more stories you can catch wind of about any day of the year, out on the front porch on a neighbor's barbecue. Hell, the slightest sprinkle gets folks all abuzz. But if you ask me why everybody gossips about the thunderstorms, they want someone, anyone, to ask them about Thunder Mountain. You see, nobody round here dares begin a conversation about our town's little secret, but everybody wants to, all biting at the bit like an important race about to start. If someone, a newcomer, got whisked to the rumors, they just come on out and naively ask. Course folks' eyes grow as big as bugs, all puffed, ready to pop out of their heads from the sheer excitement brought on by fresh, tender ears. But a few seconds later, after their eyes go back to normal size, plans already formulated in their minds, they grab the question's rail and jump on the opportunity to set things in motion and tell the tale. Now the ones who've seen the bolts from up on that mountain for themselves, they give each other a knowing look and sit back while the other folks happily spill their own versions of the events. Every now and again, those knowing few smirk, maybe let out a titter, but they never give a word, not to no stranger at least. On the nights when the weather turns ugly, folks say, don't worry about hearing the call unless it ain't raining. When the thunder rolls in but brings no rain, the destination is the mountain. Legend tales, and by legend, I mean how old man Stephen recounts. Some 3,000 years ago, native Indians lived in these parts. They resided in this valley, right here where we're sitting today. Now that part ain't hard to chew, but this next piece gonna take a bit more gnawing. At the base of this mountain, hidden behind overgrowth and thick brush, sits a secluded place where a hole takes you into her gut and opens up to the biggest cavern round these parts. On the rock-hewn walls of her belly are some of the strangest pictures. Drawings of Indians and their lives, yes, but every image includes the storms that tell of the thunder and lightning ages ago. There are drawings of tribesmen entering the cave, some climbing the steep side of the mountain, and a couple of them nearly reaching the top. I say nearly, because their quest ended with a bolt pierced into the rock and the depiction of these men plummeting to their deaths. These drawings have drops of rain sharply defined. Even the images of the mass graves are puddled with rainfall, but the last picture is different. That one shows an Indian, alone, exiting the cave. Alone he climbs, no rainfall, only lightning bolts. In this drawing, he stands on top with rays of light illuminating from him in all directions as he receives the gift of Thunder Mountain. Some folks say this is all lore, something somebody made up to make a good story about why she's called Thunder Mountain and sell you tourist t-shirts. But at least half a dozen have died trying to find the truth and receive her offering. Of course, they usually weren't alone, 'cause they were too scared. If you ask me, they didn't follow the picture directions. Some idiots tried their luck in the downpour. The prospect too damn tempting. In a dry storm, some made it. Some lived and experienced the enlightenment of the mountain. I know, because I'm the last one to have done it, and I've never been the same since. My receiving happened the year before last, not during a spring rain, but in one of those summer storms where thunder rattled and boomed in the sky. Some say the heat creates that, but this seemed unusual, altered somehow. All of a sudden, I stood from my old Ford pickup, dropped the jack right next to my foot, and started walking. I could not have cared less about my flat tire or the load of seed I hauled. The thunders rumbled, moved through me, deep inside, all the way to my core, rattled me awake, and called me to the mountain's top. Some said I was stupid to head with no provisions, not a single word about my goings or my whereabouts to anyone in town, but I had to go. I walked 3 miles to the base of that mountain, and without hesitation, I started up. Hours must have passed. I never noticed the movement of time, and I never stopped. Flashes of lightning strobed in the sky, but I just kept climbing, rock after rock up the side of that rugged slope, ripping my fingers raw, blood under my nails, but still I climbed. The thunder cracked louder as I neared the summit. I can't explain what came over me next, but I wasn't scared. A calmness, like I was finally home, enveloped me. Now I know it doesn't make any sense how the top of a mountain surrounded by summer lightning felt like home, but it did. I loved the rumbles, the drawn-out boom that encompassed me. All the thoughts that normally filled my head disappeared, and in my inner silence, I just was. Rooted on a small ridge of the peak, I reached my arms to the heavens. I circled myself around until I sensed I should stop. Then, without warning, words flowed from my mouth. "Oh, great thunder God!" That's when it happened. One loud, crisp clap resounded, and with it, a strike of lightning brighter than anything I'd ever seen flashed through me. My body grew warm, and I looked at my arms, and they glowed with brightness all their own. No shock or fear, or nothing but peace. I understood. At that moment, I knew what it all meant. Everything's connected. You and me, we're linked together, one with each other and everything else on earth. Heck, everything in the universe, even the stuff not created yet. We're connected to that too. All sounds crazy, but I remember the perception of oneness, and I carry this treasure with me deep inside. Like I said, I'm not the same knowing what Thunder Mountain showed me. I don't know why it called for me. Don't matter, 'cause she did, and I received her gift on her summit. All the voices that whisper in each man, and their reasons for doing and not doing, trickled in me. I understood which strangers possessed something needed by our town tribe in their spirit, and that we could obtain this through the consumption of their flesh. I'm only telling you this 'cause a storm's rolling in, and I thought I'd ask if you wanted to take your chance with the mountain. You might get lucky. I did. And forever I'll be one of those in the knowing group, no longer a bug-eye or the town's last meal.